I mean, the money we're talking about now, where does it come from? It typically comes from two places. You either build a career as a professional, as many of you guys are doing, or you start a business. You have an idea with partners maybe, and you give it a go. No guarantee, but you give it a go. Those are the two like well springs of potential future wealth. And the one, you sweat it, you worry about it, you work long days, and it might come off. The other one, you're working it, you build reputation, you move up in the food chain. And the result of that is you earn an income. It's really how simple it is. So for every unit of production, you earn a unit of income. And I'm just converting it to 100 here. What happens after that now, of course, that the taxman will appear as well on the horizon and say, you owe me a bit of this. So let's assume your average tax rate is somewhere around 30%. 30% will go into the system. And you have to dress and drive and pay your way and eat and so on. The cost of living is there as well. Now, what you will find is most people stop the conversation here. They raise us as proper laborers. I can talk for my clan, Afrikanerdom, you know. They were from an early age, that one sentence, you must work hard. So they invest a lot of money in our income potential at the top line here. And then you work and the taxman is on your case and you pay your way. But then, at the end, every month when that 100 units of remuneration is coming your way, what is left at the end? Now, from now on, I would love you to call that capital from now on, not savings, you know, that's your dad's language, but capital. So the preserved income at the end of this whole stream of events every month is capital. What you will see then as well is sometimes if you're in the business of your own, you may earn profits and you share in those profits called dividends. You may even sell the business or parts of the business at some point, which means there will be bullet payments of capital over your lifetime once or twice. In a career, we call it bonuses. You work very hard, you earn, like you put in more than you paid for, and the system is looking after you and giving you these bullet payments. So in a normal human being's life, and maybe you're lucky one day as well, that your parents had money and you get that type of money as well. This is the money we're talking about. The monthly way of creating capital and the now and then way of creating capital. And I just want to sensitize you about this capital and just how to approach it. Unfortunately, South Africans are not good at this shy form of money. Unfortunately. From an economics point of view, if you're serious about the future of a nation, you better put 20% back into the system consistently. 20% of GDP back into the system to build roads and electricity and so on to provide for future returns. That's a big chunk, to take away 20% every time you earn it. What's your percentage every month? Are you happy with that? Is it where it should be? Imagine we're all 18 now. And old toppie put us down in a chair and they say, I want to ask you one thing. Do you want to live in peace with money for the rest of your life? Yes or no? And they like leave you for 2 hours. And they say, come back with your answer in 2 hours' time. Do you want to live a battle with money for the rest of your life, 12 times a year, every month in? Or do you want to live in peace with money? It's your choice now at 18. I wish they had that conversation with us. Because before you can talk money, you have to tick this one. Guys, you know, you have friends like that. They earn proper money. They have a battle 12 times a year with money. And it erupts. It erupts in the whole family system. I hope we use it. You made up your mind about this. To live in peace with money. In harmony with money. Because I think on average in this room, guys, I mean, the amount of money cannot be the issue. It can be a way that can be an issue. My tip to you is if we were part of those youngsters, I hope that Elder Oak told me 4 things. He said, man, if you want to live in peace with money, I suggest 4 things. The first is, I hope you find happiness without the need for excess and all types of expensive bells and whistles. I hope you invest in your happiness. If you have all that stuff as well, it's fine, but I hope you don't depend on that for happiness. So many people try to buy happiness. It's such an expensive journey. And unfortunately, I don't think happiness is for sale. That's the first thing I would advise a youngster. The second thing is I would advise him to do a good job. Whatever you choose to do, whether you choose to be a singer or an artist, or an auditor, just be good at what you do. The economy tends to look after you then. In other words, your income stream will perform over a lifetime. Move yourself up to the top of the pyramid, whichever pyramid you choose. Do a good job. The third advice would be, I know budget sounds like a swear word, but use a budget in your life. In other words, send your money in a direction before it goes. Not discover where it went after a month. If you don't, no amount of money is enough, ever. And then the last tip I would give to cover this point is beware of debt. Beware of debt. Slavery is economically is coming from debt. You sign your life away. I think that will be very helpful from a peace of mind point of view. That would be my first tip to you guys as well this morning. Are you living in peace with money? Have you made up your mind about that? That you have better things to do than to have issues about money? That, it steals your sleep. It makes you fight at home. You will probably have to be policed in your life in some form or way if you have a battle with money. In a country like Japan, the savings rate's 40%. China's savings rate's 30%. India's savings rate is 20%. Our other BRICS partners, Brazil, Russia, savings rate's about 12%. Morocco has got a 20% savings rate. I don't want to talk down on our nation, but our savings rate is in the league of Lebanon, Libya, Zimbabwe, Grenada. They're actually outsaving us. It's not a good league to be in. South Africa is rock bottom in terms of taking money off the table every month. Why the Chinese, and the Germans and the Japans of this life and the Hungaries are getting it right? They don't give you an option. You have to. They take the money, democracy or not, they take the money before you can get hold of it. Whether it's a state pension dispensation, whether it's a Denmark taking a high tax from you to park into your future to look after you, or it's a compulsory occupational pension contribution you have to make. Please make financial independence a serious thing in your life. You can decide when, how. Don't play around with this. And don't see wealth, see non-poverty as your main definition, okay? I'm quite paranoid about this one because I'm seeing what it's doing to young families when parents aren't financially independent. It is such a pressure cooker because you have to look after your own life. There are typically and often 2 sets of parents who are not there. About 60% of you are looking in some formal way or will look after parents. The 3 most difficult things for people here is they don't start early. And the typical excuse is, I don't earn enough yet. Second thing is to do it consistently. Not now and then. And then the third thing is not to fiddle with this. Don't try and play markets. Guys, there's no magic investment. It's bad news, but there's no magic investment. There's just compound returns.